Think about the sheer volume of choices you face before you even leave the house. You silence your alarm, pick an outfit, figure out what to eat, and suddenly you're staring at a wall of cereal boxes, completely frozen by the options. If you spend enough time online, you'll eventually run into a very specific, widely shared statistic. The average human makes exactly 35,000 decisions every single day. But if you actually do the math on that number, things get a little weird. To hit 35,000 choices, you would have to make a brand new, fully conscious decision every 2 seconds of your waking life. The truth is, that number doesn't come from cognitive science. It traces back to PR campaigns and opinion pieces. Researchers haven't actually measured it, mostly because it's practically impossible to define what counts as a single choice. If your brain were actually forced to weigh the pros and cons of an option every 2 seconds, it would completely short-circuit from exhaustion before you even finished your morning coffee. Instead of trying to count individual decisions, it helps to think of your brain's daily energy capacity like the battery in your smartphone. You wake up with a finite amount of juice. Every time you wake the screen, open an app, or send a message, that percentage drops a little bit. By nighttime, you're running on empty. True conscious deliberation, things like analyzing a career move or solving a complex math problem, requires a massive amount of mental energy. It burns through your battery faster than almost anything else. To keep you functioning from morning until night, your brain needed a workaround. It had to develop a way to navigate the world without constantly tapping into that main power supply. This happens because your brain effectively runs 2 distinct software systems at the exact same time. On the left, you have the heavy apps. This is the slow, deliberate part of your mind. You use it when you're comparing job offers or trying to calculate a 15% tip. It takes deep focus and it drains your battery fast. On the right are your background processes. These are your fast, automatic habits. When you tie your shoes or drive your normal route to work, this system is running the show. It requires 0 active focus and it barely uses any battery at all. This chart shows how heavily we rely on those background processes. Studies show that roughly 2/3 of our daily behaviors fall into that massive autopilot slice. They aren't fresh choices. They are automatic reactions triggered by our environment. We often think of autopilot as a mistake, but this automatic mode is a brilliant evolutionary feature. By handling the routine stuff in the background, your brain saves its finite energy for the moments that actually matter. But think about a typical afternoon. You're bouncing between urgent emails, putting out fires at work, and then scrolling through endless rows of movies on a streaming app, trying to pick what to watch. When you force your brain to keep those heavy apps open for too long, processing option after option, you create a massive drag on your mental system. This graph shows a phenomenon called decision fatigue. As the day goes on and your mental battery runs low, the quality of your choices drops off a cliff. Once you cross that threshold of choice overload, your brain stops evaluating options critically. This is why you might flawlessly execute a complex project at 10 in the morning, but completely abandon your plan to go to the gym at 6. By 7, you're impulsively ordering takeout because deciding what to cook is just too much effort. The late afternoon slump comes down to biology. Your brain has physically run low on processing power, making it harder to resist impulses or make complex plans. Since your energy is limited, the goal is to shape your surroundings so you don't have to choose it all. First, you delete trivial apps. You standardize the small stuff. If you eat the exact same breakfast every weekday or adopt a go-to signature wardrobe, you completely remove those choices from your morning. Next, you rearrange the home screen. You design your physical environment to make good habits frictionless and bad habits difficult. If you leave a cookie jar out, your brain has to actively decide not to eat one. If you swap it for a bowl of apples, you remove the friction entirely. Because your autopilot is cued by the things around you, simply changing the physical context rewires that background process. Positive actions start happening automatically. Real efficiency comes from designing a life where you simply don't have to choose as often. By removing the clutter, you save your best thinking for the few decisions that truly count. Let's bring this right down to the present moment. Think about exactly what you are doing right now. Take a second and trace back the steps that led you to watching this specific video. Did you sit down, engage your heavy apps, and make a conscious, deliberate plan to learn about cognitive science today? Or did your autopilot just see a bright, shiny thumbnail and click on it out of pure habit? Right now, in this very second, who is actually driving your life? You or your autopilot?